Hey, everybody. This is Melanie Yates, and you have been invited to figure out how to manage your life so that you can be happy, joyous, and free. So, today we're going to be talking more about how to manage what you think, see, say, feel, and do to get the results that you're getting, right? So, currently, if you're not happy, joyous, and free, there must be something going on in your life that is causing some kind of pain, right? We all have pain, even me. Yes, even though I wrote a book about happy, joyous, and free, doesn't mean that I don't still experience life on life's terms. So that means that life still shows up. It actually doesn't go my way all the time. And anytime that my life doesn't go my way, I feel irritable and discontent. So what do? I have to keep uncovering what makes me afraid, what is stopping me from getting to the next level. So, whether you've read my book or not, this workshop is going to be about 5 different things that contribute to keeping us stuck. So, I want to think of, like when we feel tired. So there's a lot of symptoms that come up when we're not happy, joyous, and free. So one thing could be, low energy, right? Cravings, wanting to eat sugar, wanting more caffeine, not being able to sleep, sleeping too much, how our relationships are going, how we are dealing with stress, how we feel about our relationships, how we feel about our job, how we feel about our life, how we feel about the things that we have, the things that we don't have. So honestly, all of our feelings come from our thoughts. And then once we can identify the thought, we can actually understand our feelings and identify them and manage them. And when we do that, we create better behavior. And so that's what this is all about. This is, what happens is we end up getting stuck in the mud. And so I'm wondering today if you can actually identify where you are stuck, where it feels like you're stuck. Is there's something that feels like, if you feel stuck, a lot of times it feels, or the phrase in our brain that comes out is like, I don't know what's wrong. I just know something's wrong. And we kind of keep repeating this over and over. So we want to start with the thoughts, our brain. So it's what we know. And so the first thing we want to do is put a goal on paper. So it could be, I want to lose weight, I want a better job, I want a better relationship with my spouse, I want to enjoy life. Everybody needs to put down on paper, pen to paper, in black and white, exactly what their goal is. What is your intention for this workshop? What is the intention of reading a book like Happy, Joyous, and Free? What are you looking to get out of it? What results are you craving that you haven't been able to get on your own? What keeps you searching for an answer and you're still in the same place, right? So identify the exact nature of what is keeping you stuck and what you want to do. What is your intention? What is your goal? That's the first step. Okay, so once you have your goal written on paper, the next step is looking at your brain. So your thoughts, the way you think about how to get that goal. So a lot of times we say, or we think we know, and the truth is that if you aren't getting the results you're looking for, then you really don't know. So I want you to write the words I know on your piece of paper. And what we're going to do is talk about how to identify our thoughts and what we do know and what we don't know. So a lot of times I think I know how to lose weight, right? And I set out to lose 10 pounds. And I end up not being able to lose it. And I think I know how to do it, but I really don't know how to do it. When I set out to make more money, it seems like in my mind, I know how to do it, and yet I'm not getting the results I need. So sometimes when we're not getting the results, it's because we say we know, but if you really knew how to get the results you were looking for, you wouldn't be stuck. And so I have always, been proud of the way that I research and read and discuss and find resources to help me understand a topic, or gathering information is something I actually like to do. And it was hard for me to actually grasp the fact that it is something that I don't know keeping me from getting the results I'm looking for. So just consider that there could be more to know about how to achieve the goal you're looking for. So if you could just consider, maybe I don't know how to get my goal. If you didn't know enough to get your goal, what could you do to know more? So you could read a book, you could look up podcasts online, you could find a mentor or an example and ask them questions if they've been able to do what you are looking to do. Like maybe if you're looking for a good marriage, or a better marriage, or better communication in your marriage, or blending two families together, and you know someone who has also done that, just going to them and asking questions and gathering more information so that you know more about how to get to your goal. It's when we pretend that we know, or we think we know, when we really don't, that keeps us in the same place. So if we keep telling ourselves we know, and we're not doing anything to move forward or move to the next level of understanding, see, that's the ticket. We may have gotten or received the information, and yet we don't understand the information we have. We need a better understanding. So it's not to tell us we're stupid. And I think that's one of the reasons it was hard for me to grasp this particular point, is because I didn't want to look stupid, and I want to pride myself on being smart and articulate. And the truth is, we can all grow and learn more, right? And so just having that little humility and considering that maybe I could develop a better understanding of the information that I need to know to get to my result. So the first thing we want to look at is, I know. What do I know? And what is my understanding of that information so I can get to my result? The next principle is what we see. So these all build upon one another. So the first thing to look at is, do I understand? Do I have a solid enough understanding of the information needed to get to my goal? A lot of the times we don't really do enough research or gather enough information to get us where we want to go. And a lot of times we get to a certain level and we need more information to keep going. So what happens is we gather information and it gets us as far as that information will take us, and that we need actually more understanding to get a better result or more results. Okay. The next level is to see. So we have to visualize our goal. We have to see ourselves accomplishing our goal. Most people do not know how to do this. If you do not have a vision board, it is very simple. So a vision board is a cue for our eyes to visualize and to see our goal. So the first thing that you would want to do is put a board up somewhere where you can see it. I've had people take a piece of paper and just pin it to the wall. I've had people put blue tape in a square on their wall and put the pictures inside like that. I actually have a cork board that has a white frame around it because I wanted it to match the decor in my room, right? It doesn't have to be fancy. The first time I did it, I just put a piece of paper on the wall. Now, we do this as a cue to remind us about our final result. We do this as a cue to remind us that we are visualizing in our minds what it looks like to have the finished result, to have a better marriage, to lose 10 pounds, to make more money. And we want to be specific about our goals too, right? The more specific we can get, the better it's going to be. And so these details can come out on the vision board. So for me, right now, because I'm publishing the book, my vision board is all about my book. It's all about the stats that I want to have, how many reviews on Amazon I want to have. I have a picture of a microphone and an audience. I have a picture of the cover of my book. I have a picture of, let's see, I'm looking at it right now, a computer with my glasses and a teacup next to it. And I have affirmations next to it. So I have words that also give me a cue of a description of what I see, how I see myself in the next 3 months. I know that visualization is a powerful tool. I have a couple of stories about vision boards and how I have gotten a lot of fun material things, but also things like feelings, the way I want to feel in my life. I have also received from a vision board. So I used to have a vision board that just had pictures of ways I wanted to feel, right? So I went through magazines, and now they make it's so easy now because you can just, use Google Images, right? And print it out, and you can find these, pictures of exactly what you were looking for. But, back then I was using a magazine to find pictures that really portrayed happiness, freedom. So it's up to you how you want to use a vision board to help you meet your goal. And you can use vision boards for a lot of different things. I had a vision board for just the way I wanted to feel. I wanted to feel confident. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to be free. One of the pictures I had on there was two girls jumping off a cliff, which I would never do, into the water in Hawaii. And it was not, I was not visualizing that I wanted to jump off a cliff into the water. I was visualizing how free. See, that picture meant something to me. That picture of these two girls in their bathing suits, like laughing and smiling, and the picture was them in the air, and you can see that they've jumped off the cliff and the water's below them, and it represented freedom. It represented not a care in the world. It represented, I'm here right now. There's nothing else I'm thinking about. I'm falling to the water. I'm in the moment. I'm not afraid. I'm with my friend. We're both excited. And even if it's scary, we're having fun and we're doing it. And so that's what that picture represented. It did not represent that I wanted to jump off the cliff and actually do what those girls were doing. It created a feeling for me. There was another gal in a string bikini with this beautiful hat on the beach, and she was just very confident, and it was the way, and it looked, she was relaxed, and she was confident, and she was relaxed. And that was another picture where I was visualizing what it would be like to be relaxed and confident on the beach, wearing hardly any clothes and being okay with myself. I wanted the feeling. And so vision boards are a cue for how we want to see ourselves, how we want to visualize ourselves. So the picture was just a cue. It was just a cue for me to tap into, what am I looking for? I'm actually looking for confidence and being okay in my skin, whether I'm fat or skinny, in a one piece, in a two piece, that I'm okay. It doesn't matter who's around, that I'm okay in my skin. And so that's what that picture represented. There was another picture where there was 5 girls, and they were all in their towels at the spa. And it just represented a girl day, a spa day, a be pampered day. And these are the feelings that I was looking for to develop in my life. It was my vision of having a great life, having an enjoyable, fun, exciting, confident, free life. I've also done vision boards where material items were very important to me. So I used to, when I first started with vision boards, I started out by just finding pictures of objects I wanted. And I had beautiful things on this board, and I don't know, maybe 6 months went by and I didn't get anything from the board, right? And I went to a conference and I got a little more information about how I could go about getting one of these items. And they suggested that I work on one item at a time. So when I looked at my board and I saw all these beautiful things, the one thing that really stood out was my dream car. And my dream car was a Panamera Porsche. I always wanted this car. And it seemed like a pipe dream. It seemed like it's out of my price range. There's just no way. I mean, it's crazy talk. You know, who do I think I am to drive a Porsche? So what I did when I looked at this board is I realized that the only thing that I even really cared about was the dream car. So I took everything off the vision board except for the car. And what I did is I focused on that one thing. I just focused on the one thing. And I spent time every day looking at the picture. And I also visualized what it would be like to drive that car. And eventually I started worrying about, okay, well, I've never even driven a Porsche, so maybe I don't even, who knows if I even like driving a Porsche, right? So I went down to the dealership and I test drove a brand new Panamera Porsche. And I felt very comfortable in it. And there's actually a dealership right down the street from mine house. And I was so freaked out because it felt so natural for me to be behind the wheel. I ran home. So I was out for a walk and I walked by and I'm like, today's the day. I'm just going to go in there and drive it. I drove it and I could not even walk into the dealership office. I ran home. I'm like, I'm out of here. Knowing how much one costs, knowing that I loved driving it, made it even harder to believe that I could get this car. So I had to hyper focus on what it looked like to drive that car, what it felt like to drive that car. And I came up with all the fears that I had around driving the car, like it might be too much car for me. I won't know how to park it. I won't know how to, the bells and whistles on it. I won't, it costs too much money to get repaired. One of the things that I was really worried about is what if someone scratches it? What if I scratch it? And I didn't want to get a car like that and be just paranoid every time I drove it, right? So I came up with a list of fears around why I couldn't afford the car, why I don't deserve the car, why I can't have one of those, and all the problems that were associated with that. I also felt like people might judge me for buying a car like that. And so what I did is I wrote all my excuses down on paper, and then I made affirmations out of them. So for instance, like the one about not being able to park it correctly, or I might ding it, or I might not have money to pay for a flat tire or stuff like that. I would say I easily maneuver the Panamera into parking places. I know the bells and whistles of how to maximize the car. I looked for ways to make affirmations about driving the car. I easily can afford owning and taking care of the maintenance of a Panamera Porsche. So I had these declarations that I had with it. And every day I would say my declarations and I would look at my picture every day. And I looked at the picture and it was a cue for me to close my eyes and go inside and make neural pathways inside my brain to actually see myself driving that car and see myself living those affirmations that I had come up. I will tell you that the day that I got my Panamera Porsche, it was the exact color of the one on my vision board. And it has been such a joy to have. And, you know, I did end up somehow doing a fender bender. I don't know if someone backed, I don't even remember if I did it or if someone else did it. I just came out to my car and it was messed up. The bumper needed fixing. But because it was like I was prepared for it, because I had already visualized and I had already declared that I easily can afford this car and the maintenance thereof, it was like I didn't freak out. I didn't have to go into that, I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to ruin this car. I know you didn't deserve it. I knew this was going to happen. I didn't have to go into that, all of that. Even after I purchased the car, I had a financial setback and I wasn't making as much money as I previously was. And so I easily could have right then gone back into, I should give the car back because now I can't afford it. And what I'm trying to say here is that because I took the time to visualize and admit my fears before I got the car and address each of those fears and have affirmations for each of those fears, when they actually came up, it was easy to walk through them because I visualized myself walking through them easily. I visualized myself understanding and knowing how to take care of the next indicated thing. So I had the mindset to own a Porsche before I even owned one. So that's my little story about vision boards. And so anything is possible with a vision board, and we can go, I'm planning on doing some more series on specifics, but just starting out, you don't need to know much. All you need to do is gather pictures, because what we're doing is we're focusing our brain on what we see. You know, if you can't see something, then you can't get it. You have to see it first in order to even know you want it, right? So the next principle is I feel. So often we go to, I know how to get to my goal. I see what I want and I'm going to go get it. And what happens is we need more engaged to change the way we behave to get our goal. So the next one is I feel. So we have to bring in emotion to get us to the end result. So there's a way to do this. Most of us don't manage emotions very well, and that keeps us from being happy, joyous, and free. We want to be able to manage our emotions. We want to be able to take care of our feelings. And feelings are signals, and they do need something, and they do give us information. So feelings, it doesn't matter if they're positive or negative, they work for us and they create new stuff for us to uncover. And the important thing is that emotions, if they're not managed, they end up managing you. So we definitely want to acknowledge our emotions, find out what they're telling us, and then we have to take responsibility for them. So even with our goals, there may be emotions that are keeping you from your goal. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, fear can keep us from a goal. And without managing and doing something about that fear, you can't get there. So when we talk about feelings, we're talking about managing the feelings that are keeping us from the goal and managing the feelings that can get us towards the goal. So this is where letting go techniques really come into play, right? We need letting go techniques. And one of my favorite techniques is writing our emotion down and talking to our emotion on paper. So if I identify a feeling of, let's say I want a better relationship with my spouse, and I'm gathering information about a better understanding of how I could continue having a good relationship with my spouse, and I'm visualizing. Maybe on my vision board, I have pictures of us holding hands on the beach. Maybe I have pictures of us kissing. I'm creating a vision of the kind of relationship I want my marriage to be, right? And the visual pictures are just the cue for me to map out visual pictures in my mind so that I am building pathways in my brain to actually see my life looking this way. So then we want to create feelings. So I want to create a feeling of love, of acceptance, of respect, right? So I'm identifying when in my life have I felt that. So I want to find times in my life that I felt loved and respected. And what I want to do is pull from those feelings to create and identify that feeling with the way I want to currently feel. So we have to anchor in. We have to use an anchor. We have to use a feeling to pull in our affirmations and speak where we want to go. So feelings can help us get to the place where we can actually articulate and verbalize where we're going. This particular principle can be flipped. Sometimes you want to start with what we say, and then the feeling comes, and sometimes we need to draw upon the feeling to get the words out. So let's start with affirmations. So I want to say what I'm looking for in my relationship. So I am respected and loved in my relationship. My relationship reflects love and affection. So we're looking for declarations. I am loving towards my spouse. I am respectful towards my spouse. So we're saying I am statements so that we're using words to lift our relationship. Also using words to articulate the kind of relationship we want to have, right? So this is pretty easy to come up with ways to look at how to articulate and say our goal. So for weight loss, we would say, I am 140 pounds. And we want to say our goal and be a description of our goal. We can even go into the reasons why we want this goal, so that you need a why that makes you cry. So you need a why. You need to be able to, in words, say exactly where you're going. You need to say exactly what you want to get. So speaking and using our words to lift us up towards our goal. And we all know that we are hard on ourselves, and that our self-talk often goes to, you'll never do it. You never did it before. You're never going to do it again. It's hopeless. He's never going to change. This is how it's always been. This is how it's always going to be. It's so easy to get into that negative self-talk. It's easy to get into negative, shameful abuse to ourselves. And that is something that needs to be replaced with lifting whatever it is up. Instead of putting it down, we want to lift it up. So a lot of times we get negative even about working hard. I know recently this week, something came up that was much harder than I expected, and I wanted it to be easy. And I was struggling because my expectation was that it was going to be easy. And when it ended up being hard, I was irritable and discontent. I lost my happy, joyous, and free. And so this is one way when I get the signal that things aren't going my way and that I'm not exactly happy with the way things are going, I have to go back and look at, okay, what am I saying about this situation? Well, I'm disappointed. I'm talking down to the situation. I don't want to work this hard. I'm putting myself and the situation down instead of lifting it up. I know working hard and the effort I put towards this will be worthwhile. Anytime I've worked hard for something, it's always been worthwhile. I always get what I put into something. And looking at it that way of surrendering and being okay and accepting it's okay to work hard, and looking for the positive ways that I can affirm myself and speak up to what I'm wanting to do. Speaking down just makes me feel bad, and then I definitely don't get the results I'm looking for. So that's the one thing that we want to do, is what we say has everything to do with our results. So we want to lift up ourselves and the people around us and the situation around us so that we can actually get the results we're looking for. We can't get results when we talk bad about it or down about it. And it's hard to cultivate the feelings that inspire us to get the results when we're talking down. So the next principle is I feel. So feeling is what gives us that extra push of inspiration and energy to get to our results. A lot of times when we don't have feeling in it, we can't get there. We need all of these senses help us get into action. See, most of the time we write a goal on paper and we try to just run towards the goal. We we don't take a look at what we know. We don't take a look at what we see. We don't take a look at what we're saying. We don't take a look at what we're feeling. We go straight to, I'm going to do to get. And in my experience, it just doesn't work that way. As we go through these different steps and engage our thoughts, our sight, our visualization, our words, our heart, it cultivates an inspiring ground to get the results you're looking for. And it inspires behavior when we start with the brain, the eyes, the mouth, the heart. When we start with those things first, it really gets the action working in the right direction, and it helps us behave to get the results we're looking for. So cultivating feelings is, again, anchoring a good feeling with the end result. So I'm looking for a way to, when I see that end result, what does that look like? Who do I know that understands? And what is the feeling behind the result? How am I going to feel when I get my result? How am I going to feel when I make more money? How am I going to feel when I meet my body fat percentage? How am I going to feel when my marriage starts working better and it feels like we're best friends and we enjoy each other's company? You know, how's it going to feel when we have our end result? And those things inspire us to get into action, because then it's easy to get into action. Then it's easy to get up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. When I have a better understanding, when I can see my results, when I can say my results, when I can feel my results, it is easy to get up at 5 a.m. to get my results. It makes it easy. So that's what this workshop is all about. This workshop is about uncovering how to think, see, speak, feel, and do to get your results.